We have a townhouse, so we have a second floor. And so that particular night, I was upstairs and my husband's upstairs, but he decided to come downstairs. We had been watching rain that day, but it was just coming in so fast just at one time, and he said, "Oh, just forget it. I'll grab the microwave, you get the coffee pot and let everything else float." And so it was like one of these Steven Spielberg movies, like you're running from the water, and you know if you can make it up the stairs, and that's what we was doing. From upstairs, we could see the vehicles, and the lights were going off on the vehicles. The hatch came up, some of the trunk came up, the windows went down. It was like the lights were flashing. It's like they were having a party too. I've never experienced that before, and I wouldn't want to experience that again. Your mind had to shift, psychologically. You had to absorb, I had to absorb what I actually saw. And then my mind needed to transition to, now it's cleanup time. It's like 5 things and all of them are priority. Transportation, it kind of took the priority list. And come on, we all know that finding a car, the right car, the car that you want, the right mileage, and all these other details can be brutal. It could take a psychological toll on you, especially in a situation like this. We thank God for on the road lending, because we just didn't. It's just so. I just can't stress enough the stress that it took off of us and the burden. So now we can go on to something else.
Access is a fundamental need for all human beings across the world. Our daily existence requires that we interact with our surroundings, and physical movement is essential to those activities. Even for those who work from home, they must go to other places. We don't build office buildings out in the middle of open fields that don't have any access. Roads lead to them, as well as to neighborhoods and hospitals, shopping centers, and schools. We must all have the ability to reach the places that we need to go. But mobility means more than just literally getting from place to place. It also has a figurative meaning of freedom and hope and aspiration. This brings us to the intersection of transportation and economic mobility.
I do have 2 kids. I have RJ and Jaden. And Jaden is my special needs baby. And like at first, even trying to get him to, like we would stop in the middle of the road with my old car. He goes to the lab 3 times a week to go and get lab checks. And he goes and see his doctors regularly, like at least twice a week. So we're at the hospital like maybe 4 days straight out of the whole week. But I would ask friends to take me, and that kind of like burnt out because I wouldn't have gas money all the time, to give them. I even tried the bus route, but I mean, if you're not there on time and then having to carry 2 kids, it's just like, it's a lot. Weather was awful. When it was like super cold, RJ never wanted to get out, and go with us. He would always cry, complain, and Jaden would get more sick if we were out in the weather. Or when I had bad transportation, it was like snowing and the ice was on the ground. I had to try to get there. When I tell you, I fishtailed about 2-3 times before I even got to the hospital. Like, I just had to leave my car, because they ended up stopping though, but I had to leave it at the hospital. But the weather has just made it so unreal.
Everyone needs freedom of motion, and the concept of transportation equity recognizes that access is a fundamental need of all people. Lower skilled workers already face limitations in the job market. They lack education credentials, breadth of experience. They may have sporadic job histories that narrow their options for meaningful work.
Now she's gonna be real dizzy.
Curtis Major is from Miami, moved to Dallas about 5 years ago. We came when jobs was good and everything. And then my wife was unemployed. She lost her job. I was a home dad for a year, and so I immediately have to go to work. Got a low-paying job, couldn't keep up the bills, lost both cars. I worked for GM at the time out in Arlington. I live here in Dallas, so I had to catch 2 buses and then catch 2 trains and then walk for about a half a mile. It took me just over 3 hours just to get to work. And we just haven't fully recovered yet.
If these workers don't live where the jobs are located and they face transportation barriers, the opportunity costs are really high for them, not only for them and their families, but for the community as a whole. Enabling these individuals to take the best jobs that they can get, no matter where they're located, provides opportunity and a greater ability for them to prosper.
My whole life has changed for the better since I got my new vehicle and it was reliable. My job, my personal life, I feel good about being in it. I was always the one with the old vehicle and everybody else had their nicer vehicles, and I'm proud to be seen in my car now. Everything about it has changed my life. I had applied twice previously for the appraiser job and did not receive that. It went to somebody else. So this time when I was interviewing, I had put that in my application, and that was one of the things that my boss brought up in the interview, was that that's what caught her attention when she was reading my information, that she knew I had the experience, but now she knew that I had a reliable vehicle, and that's what gave me the biggest opportunity to have this promotion at work.
Removing transportation barriers is critical to increasing economic mobility. We all need to come together, business leaders, employers, policymakers, social service agencies, people in the community, to work together to find solutions to ensure that there is affordable, practical transportation options that are available for working families.